Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming, and also the Free and Accessible Transit campaign and the Greater Toronto Workers Assembly. Thank you very much for organizing this event. Perhaps what I'm just going to focus on is a little bit of background about Scarborough, because Scarborough is unique in Toronto, and also some of the issues that I've encountered with organizing around transit issues in Scarborough, and then some of the goals I think that we could achieve. So just to start, 57% of Scarborough residents are immigrants, and they usually move to Scarborough because there's an abundance of affordable rental housing, and also they prefer Scarborough because, unlike Etobicoke or Mississauga, the TTC reaches out to all parts of Scarborough. The majority of Scarborough residents, however, are at an economic disadvantage since about 1970. Scarborough residents, say for example in Kingston Galloway, have earned 40% less than the average income of $40,000 compared to residents in Toronto who live closer to the city centre who are earning $40,000 more than the average income of $40,000. So they're struggling, not only with being economically disadvantaged, also neighborhoods in Scarborough are organized to support travel by the car, by using the car, and arterial roads there are usually 6 lanes. So if you're a pedestrian or a transit user and you need to get across the street to catch a bus, you've got to encounter 6 lanes of traffic usually to get to your bus stop. And also TTC service in Scarborough relies heavily on buses. So we don't have that sort of foundation of subway infrastructure out in Scarborough. And consequently, whenever the city decides to cut service, it's Scarborough residents who are hit the hardest, because most of the service cuts apply to bus service, and so they have an equally more difficult time of coping with those cuts. Some of the problems with organizing in Scarborough around things like service cuts, fare increases, and privatization are that the social agencies in Scarborough neighborhoods are already dealing with affordable housing issues, childcare, employment, and immigration issues. And so transit issues tend to be sort of one-time focus until the issue perhaps gets resolved one way or the other or addressed, and then it kind of falls through the cracks. So there isn't really, the social agencies are already sort of overburdened, and they can't take on transit issues on a full-time basis. A lot of Scarborough residents still see public transit as a temporary solution to getting to work and to getting to where they need to shop. Most of them have a goal of owning a car because they see that as the most viable way of getting around. The other problem is the people who are most adversely affected by transit service cuts and fare increases are just struggling to survive. They can't take the time to go and hand out leaflets at a subway station or go down to city council or TTC commission meetings to voice their concerns. We also have quite a right-wing group of councillors representing Scarborough. So they tend to follow along with Rob Ford's anti-union, anti-TTC, and anti-anything that gets in the way of my car philosophy. So, and none of them that I'm aware of take the TTC. So we don't have anybody at the municipal level that really understands what it's like to use the TTC service and to be dependent on public transit. And also we have 2 councillors from Scarborough, Brenda and Raymond Cho, and they tend to be a little bit more sympathetic toward public transit. However, no one has come forward to champion public transit underfunding by the province or the federal government. So there's a tendency for the province to threaten to reduce funding for things like new public transit infrastructure or for the gas tax which goes into TTC operations. They will use that to more or less blackmail municipal council into going along with their idea of what we should get in terms of public transit. Some of our short-term goals are to reduce fares, something like a low-income pass, free transit for disabled students, seniors, and on smog alert days. We also want publicly financed, designed, maintained, and operated transit. We don't want privatization of public transit. That tends to cost even more in the long run. Research done in Ontario, looking at P3s, has shown that they end up being 16% more costly than to do it publicly. And people in Scarborough, they're not in a position to, fork out any more money. They're already having a hard time. There needs to be more service connectivity within Scarborough, so people can get from, say, there's neighborhoods in Scarborough where people have to take 3 or 4 buses to get to. They have to transfer. So we need more service within Scarborough and less of a focus on getting people downtown. They seem to have, made that the main focus. However, people do live and work within Scarborough, and they need that connectivity. Also, we're noticing that there's a tendency for the province to move in and take over. They took over the expansion of 4 new LRTs, 2 of which will be in Scarborough, and actually maybe 3. Anyway, it is going to cause a problem because we no longer will have autonomy and control over our public service and our public transit, and that will make us more vulnerable to backroom deals and also threats to withdraw funding by the province and by Metrolinx. I guess my feeling about how we could achieve more equitable transit service, which basically puts the car in its place and realizes that public transit has to be the most important mode of transportation for the time being, and also that we have control over our transit and that we have the needs of our most vulnerable transit users put first. My feeling is the way to do that is to come together and look at what is happening with transit right now through our municipal, federal, and provincial sort of neoliberal agenda. If we can kind of understand what's happening, then I think we can come up with another vision which leads us to something that really reflects the needs of the ordinary people. Thank you.